If it's just deviled eggs.
7.5 eggs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
8 halves.
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome into Red Raider Recon, brought to you by Cantex Roofing. I'm Clint Scott. He's Rob Bro.
Today we'll have 3 takeaways from the weekend. Talk about Texas Tech and BYU
okay?
punching.
Are you okay?
I don't feel very well. I think I have the turkey fever.
I'm a big Thanksgiving guy too. I
No,
see.
it's like I'm like legit sick.
Is that real?
I can't stop like gobbling and it just comes.
Is it contagious?
I really don't know, man. Can we just get through this?
Are you like patient zero?
Can we just do the show?
This week it is the regular season finale. Texas Tech will take on West Virginia in Morgantown, and the goal is clear: win and you are in. The Mountaineers were an interesting story in the offseason, bringing back Rich Rodriguez to be their head coach. He was sporting blue and gold as a player from 1981 to 1984. His first stint as their head coach was from 2001 to 2007. In that time, he won 60 games. That stretch included a 10-win season and 2 11-win seasons. This year, however, they're in rebuild mode. Currently, they're 4-7 and coming off a loss to Arizona State. They sealed their fate on becoming bowl eligible with the loss. In their last 4 games, however, they've showed a late season surge of improvement. They've won a couple games and lost by a single possession in the other 2. Part of that success has come from true freshman quarterback Scotty Fox Jr. He's been the starter over that stretch, throwing for 6 touchdowns and running in 2 more. He has 10 total touchdowns in 2025. This week, he'll be going up against a defense that has been dominant. Opponents are scoring just 12.3 points per game against the Red Raiders. They're in line to be one of the best scoring defenses the conference has ever seen. As they chase units like Nebraska's in 2009, they only allowed 10.4 points per game. In 1999, Nebraska allowed 11.5. In 2002, Kansas State allowed 11.8. The Big 12 championship will feature a mix of Texas Tech, BYU, Utah, and Arizona State. The only 2 that fully control their own destiny are the Red Raiders and Cougars. BYU will finish the regular season slate at home against UCF on Saturday. The Utes and Sun Devils will both need some help. It starts with winning their matchups this week. Both squads will play on Friday. Utah will be in Lawrence facing the Jayhawks. Arizona State will host Arizona for the Territorial Cup. The Red Raiders have one last chance to show off in the regular season, and if they do, who will be on the other side in Arlington?
Welcome in. I did not practice that turkey gobble before we did that. I don't know if it was good or not, but Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
I practiced for 3 hours in the mirror. My wife was very disturbed.
Start, bench, cut.
Okay.
Pecan pie.
Oh.
Pumpkin pie. Chess pie.
Well,
or buttermilk pie.
my answer would be different if it's not based around Thanksgiving.
Well, it's Thanksgiving Day.
Because Thanksgiving Day, it's pumpkin, it's pecan, and chess.
Yeah. I think I prefer a buttermilk, but same thing.
Okay, but if you're throwing out straight buttermilk, then like if it's a normal day, you would keep pecan in the middle and flip it.
I'd go pecan first
Yeah.
any day of the year and twice on Sunday, and then buttermilk, and then pumpkin. I don't like pumpkin pie.
I had a slice of pecan pie at a local barbecue joint. I always get a piece of pie there, and I always have a great selection, fantastic desserts. And this was like 2 or 3 weeks ago,
Yeah.
so it's still, my mind's not all the way in Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I was like, it's not as good. It's not as good when it's not at Thanksgiving. It was fine.
Turkey or ham?
Turkey,
White meat or dark meat?
dark meat. Dude, drumstick.
I'm a ham guy. I like to put a couple pieces of ham in one of those dinner rolls.
Ooh,
A little ham sandwich.
yeah, I'm team turkey all the way.
All right, start, bench, cut, mac and cheese, mashed potatoes, dressing. Oh, you're a stuffing guy, but
I am a stuffing guy. For
I know
all of
things.
it. Stuffing. I know things. Stuffing 1. Mashed potatoes 2. So I guess start stuffing, bench mashed potatoes, and cut mac and cheese, which feels weird.
yeah. I'm also cutting mac and cheese. If I put green bean casserole in there, if we start bench process cut. So you got to process somebody. I'm processing mashed potatoes and benching green bean casserole. I'm still starting dressing.
I'll probably process mac and cheese and cut green bean casserole. Can I just make a pitch to everybody? I've seen a lot of conversation, obviously, around cranberry sauce. Always comes this, and it's okay.
Yeah.
The canned stuff better than like if you're trying to zhuzh it up. You don't need to zhuzh up anything on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You don't need to make any. This is one of the meals that I'm like, even like the stuffing. You can give me the box stuff. Like, don't overcomplicate it. What are we doing? You're making it harder on yourself, and it usually doesn't end up as good.
Which brings us right into Texas Tech's red zone offense against West Virginia. Don't zhuzh it up. Just do what you do. That's what you did against UCF 2 weeks ago. I think you can do the same thing against West Virginia. In fact, nothing that Texas Tech does this weekend should be zhuzhed up at all. Don't be peeling orange peels and putting them into a bag of fresh cranberries over the stove for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Just plop out the can.
Right. Yeah.
And be done with it.
Raisins don't need to go anywhere in the offense, right? You don't need to be like, I used 7 different herbs that I got from natural grocers to put in this offense.
We don't need a smoked Gouda, mozzarella, sharp cheddar, baked twice, mac and cheese. Just play the hits. Just play the hits. We don't need to get crazy.
If you
no need to overcomplicate this weekend for Texas Tech.
If you're looking for anything extra, you put just a deviled egg on the plate. It's still pretty straightforward.
Well, that's, one.
Today we're going to tell
How
you...
many deviled eggs do you think you could eat in a sitting?
Oh, in a sitting?
Yeah.
Could I?
Yeah.
Without regretting?
Well, there's always a little bit of regret even with one.
I think I could eat... I know if it's just deviled eggs, I could eat 15.
So...
If it's just deviled eggs.
7.5 eggs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
8 halves.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'd take the over for myself.
I think I could do more, but I don't want to be too cocky with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Should we do that sometime?
Oh, no.
So Texas Tech will play West Virginia this week, and it's a big week for the Big 12 because BYU wins, they're in.
Yep.
Texas Tech wins, they're in.
Yep.
But Arizona State plays on Friday night. If Arizona wins, you're a lot closer to not even needing to beat West Virginia. If Arizona State wins, they're still in the mix. Utah will also play Friday night. I would assume they win, but if they don't, things are a little clearer. Utah could stay alive with an Arizona win and a Utah win. So there's a lot of stuff going on even Friday night. And then we'll talk about this later, but on Saturday, a couple of good games as well with TCU Cincinnati, and then obviously BYU and Texas Tech trying to punch tickets.
Yeah, I think, we'll get more into this when we get into the Big 12 Whiparound. But if I'm Texas Tech, if I'm BYU, yes, you could know that you're in the Big 12 championship on Friday night. You could wake up on Saturday morning before your game and know that you're both headed to Arlington. But I guarantee you, and they should be as well, both coaching staffs are thinking past just the Big 12 championship game, and especially BYU's trying to think of college football playoff positioning, because if either team, especially again BYU, but even you, if either of you were to lose your regular season finales, one to a UCF team that BYU is heavily favored against, or even on the road against a West Virginia team that you're heavily favored against, if either of those teams lost that game, in my mind, it's like, you got to go win the Big 12 championship to be in.
Yeah.
And you have a little bit more grace, but not dropping a bad game to West Virginia kind of grace.
Ready for 3 thoughts?
I'm ready for 3 thoughts.
3 thoughts from over the weekend. We'll start with every man a Wildcat, not whiner. Don't let that catch on.
Yeah, that would be horrible.
500 yards rushing in a losing effort. And with the game on the line, you have an incomplete pass instead of just running it 3 straight times and either forcing timeouts or burning more clock, there was a strange flag pickup in Utah's favor on the pick 2, the 2-point conversion. Why are you chasing points anyways? Right there. Just a strange game overall. And I understand you're trying to make it 9 instead of, or 13, whatever it was, whatever they were trying to do. I really don't understand it still to this day. But then you go in the post game, and for your opening statement to say, I deserve more respect than this. Not the team fought hard. The team deserves respect for a hard-fought game against Utah. It's, I deserve more respect. And he just, Kleiman cannot control himself, keeps crying, and just does not compose himself to the point where the AD has to come over and say, hey, buddy, we're not firing you. You're okay. Pull it together. We're all behind you, buddy. So, I don't know. It just, I don't really know what my thoughts are there. I just have thoughts on that situation.
Can we go back and forth this week?
Sure.
First thought.
Okay. First thought.
Chris Kleiman.
Kleiman.
Chris Kleiman. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
Lance Kreipold. Again, it should be just LIE poll.
Yeah.
Just that sounds better. And Chris Kleiman in the state of Kansas. Chris Kleiman has the awareness of a deaf and blind goldfish.
Pull it together, man.
His own fan base
Yeah.
has scrutinized his tenure. And it's one that has a Big 12 championship. It's one that has a lot of wins over his, 7 years he's been there now. There's also been a lot of mediocrity. And if you're in the fan base, or if you're a bystander like us, regardless of the camp of your NFPs, like, hey, he's hit his ceiling, he's regressing in the NIL era and should be gone, or if you're in the camp of like, hey, he does need to be getting a little bit more credit for the job he's done at Kansas State. Either one. That's just not how you handle it. And this is the second time. We've seen it once. Why do you always go up there? I mean, that's not how you handle that. You are a professional football coach.
Yeah.
In our, pick a line of work. If I went back to our bullpen area and gathered around all the part-timers and interns, like, you guys are giving me enough respect around here, I'd probably have a pretty awkward conversation that I don't want to have with my boss.
Yeah.
And instead, by the way, I think it made it worse that the boss was like, it's okay, buddy.
So much
Gene
worse.
Taylor having to step in
So much worse.
to like make him a little more chipper and like confirm, hey, it's okay. It's all right, buddy.
Could you imagine? I think
What a
you're
horrible
in
luck.
You're in a really good spot as a Texas Tech fan with McGuire and McCasland. I think you have 2 strong leaders in those roles. Could you imagine having to deal with Kleiman and Tang? Kleiman and the goofy goober of Jerome Tang?
Dang, it's a kick in the glass. I'm just, if I am a Kansas State fan, and I know plenty,
Yeah.
I have reached out to a couple. The responses weren't great.
Yeah.
I smiled.
Yeah.
But if I was a Kansas State fan, I'd be going, is this guy emotionally stable to have a better season than this? It feels like we're watching him unravel more and more each season.
He's had the health issues.
Yeah,
There's been press conferences where he goes in and says, if you guys would just write nicer things about my players, we could play better. It's like, yeah.
Do you remember after you beat Kansas State and some of the Kansas State fans that were like, oh, can you imagine, like, this is a low point. We lost to Joey McGuire, the guy that can't coach.
Yeah.
Have you looked at your coach's entire track record
Yeah.
at Kansas State?
Just a few years earlier, it was the Who Gets Fired Bowl between him and Matt Wells. They didn't think he was going to do it. And then he won a Big 12 championship over TCU, and people just thought he was great. Apparently that quarterback was just great. He went and won a national championship elsewhere. But they didn't want to play him. All right. Second thought.
Second thought.
BYU proves that they probably belong in the Big 12 championship, but also proved they're the 3rd best team in the Big 12. It was a fluke they beat Utah. Utah has hammered everyone else. Utah hammered Cincinnati. Hammered. And I don't care if it's home or away, hammered them. And you can tell me all you want about Utah and BYU playing straight up and BYU winning that night. If those two teams play 10 more times, I don't know how many Utah would lose. Neutral site at Utah in Provo. Line that up a couple of more times, and Utah gets the better of them. Maybe Utah is just a bad matchup for BYU in that sense. But over the course of the season, it is obvious to me that Utah is the second best team in this league. And you go back and look at the Texas Tech-Utah game and the BYU-Texas Tech game, one of those was a blowout immediately, in my opinion, and was way closer than it should have been at halftime. The other one was a really hard-fought battle that got away from a team at the end. Utah is the second best team in this conference, but they don't deserve to be in the Big 12 championship game because BYU beat them.
Just to play a little devil's avocado over here, but doesn't Utah's should have lost to Kansas State at home on their senior day also?
Did they?
No, they didn't, but it was close.
What do you mean should have?
So why are you giving BYU? Oh, they didn't beat by Cincinnati as many when BYU could.
I didn't say that. I said Utah dominated Cincinnati, and BYU didn't.
Right, but everybody else is, or a lot of teams have dominated Kansas State.
Did BYU,
and
did
they
BYU
struggled.
play them?
No.
Utah's offense dominated Kansas State's
I think
defense.
that they are the second best team. I'm agreeing with you there. I'm not in the camp that it would be 8-2 in favor of Utah if they played in 10 games, because I do think BYU's defense is a bad matchup for Utah's offense. I think you're the worst matchup for them. I think BYU's the second worst.
I'd love to see that game again.
I wouldn't disagree if they wanted to play 10 times.
Playing the Alamo Bowl.
Yeah. Second thought?
Second thought.
Speaking of the Big 12, even when another team, speaking of BYU, Cincinnati, even when another team is hosting Big Noon Kickoff, you're the biggest story in the Big 12. Can you imagine being a Cincinnati fan, Rob, and like, man, this is so cool. I know that, our backs are against the wall. We didn't help ourselves with a loss to Arizona, but still a Big Noon Kickoffs here. It's a big-time matchup. Big-time matchup for BYU. This means a ton to the Big 12. You're the game of the day in the conference. And then, oh, by the way, who's RG3 bringing up here on the stage? Why is Jacob Rodriguez here? Why are they all posing? It's the Heisman here.
I kept having to check if that was a Cincinnati home game, because not only was Jacob Rodriguez out there, but it looked like a BYU crowd.
Yeah,
at times.
Yeah, I agree. And then you have the showing with him on TNT as well, and I'm forgetting his name, the studio host. Yeah, thank you. Which I have loved their all-inness with the Big 12. You would expect that out of them if you were going to be their brand, but still, the job that they have done has been really, really fun. But he's up there doing a presidential speech of why
awesome.
he should be in New York. And so
awesome.
You could really focus this in on Jacob Rodriguez, but it still circles back to your defense, circles back to you. Yeah. If the roles were reversed, I would have been losing my mind.
Yeah.
I would have been like, this is not, why is he here?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, your PR team, A+.
A+. Go Big 12.
S tier. That's a thing, right?
Third thought?
Third thought.
The retention of Dave Aranda. No, let me go. Let me change my thing. All right, third thought. If I was Dave Aranda, I would quit and never go back to Baylor. That letter that Linda Lefko, that letter that Linda sent out completely neutered Dave Aranda and any hope he had of getting any strength back in his head coaching tenure. to say that we're keeping Dave Aranda, we're not settling for mediocrity. You're kind of saying you are, Linda. And we're keeping Dave Aranda. We know the fan base will have very strong feelings, but we're not settling. It's because we don't have the money. It's because we don't have an AD. It's because all of this. We certainly would. We certainly would have fired him. He stinks. But we can't, so we're not. What vote of confidence is that?
I think it would have been better, and they would have understood if they would have said just outright, we can't hire an AD and a head coach. And and this gives I get what they're doing, right?
It makes total sense.
Because the Mac Rhodes situation,
man,
I think obviously has altered things over there, and the way they're heading and the way that they're playing towards the end of the season, I do think he would have been gone.
100%.
But it's like it's the Jesse Peakman. He can't keep getting away with this. Like he just keeps finding ways, and it's good for everybody else that's going against Baylor.
But he's Dave Aranda forever.
Whoever steps in, whoever they get as an athletic director, his first major move is going to be watching very closely to see if Aranda's fireable within a 4 to 5 game window next year, and then going back in the coaching hire following a year with a huge cycle where a lot of the names you probably would have been interested in are going to be off the board. And look, there's hirings and firings every single year, but you were coming off of one of the biggest hiring cycles that I can remember in recent memory. So anyways, whoever that athletic director is going to be, like, this is your first job, by the way. Watch him. Babysit him.
Baylor's at the plus 40 with a chance to kick a field goal to win the game, and they're going to punt.
Yeah.
They're going to punt. They could fire Dave Aranda today and hire Eric Morris or whoever else and just throw a bunch of money at them, but they can't. They don't have that opportunity.
Are you ready for Baylor Bears Brian Kelly?
Woof. Chip Kelly. One of the Kellys. The Kelly brothers. Just bring them both.
Kelly.
Third thought?
Third thought. The only team that has performed to or past their expectation every week is Ohio State. I bring that up because just getting to like sit back, and not that I haven't been watching other conferences or some of these teams every week, but really just getting to like sit back and reflect without anything else, like with you going on. And yes, it also lined up with Cupcake Week. And I'm not trying to take a shot. It's just the easy way to say it. Like, okay, yeah, Georgia wasn't playing Alabama this weekend, and A&M wasn't.
Right.
There's not a team in the college football playoff field that you can't beat.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you'd be favored in every matchup, or it'd be like, oh, it's surprising that you didn't make a national championship run when you got to the playoff. But, I mean, just start with the SEC, because they are the deepest conference in the country, top to bottom. No doubt. But there's a bunch of rotating losses over there because nobody's special. Like, no, and to the SEC fans that would step in and say, like, oh, look, all these national championships we won before 2 years ago. 2019 LSU would be running roughshod through this version of the SEC. 2020 Alabama. 2022 Georgia would be running roughshod. They would be a no-doubter. Like, yes, that is the best team in the SEC. Who's the best team in the SEC?
I don't know.
I think it's Georgia, but you have to think about it for a little bit. And so times change, and they're changing rapidly. Again, you wouldn't, like, it would be, I'm not saying, hey, you're going to beat any SEC team that you might go up against in the playoff, but you can not, I keep on seeing the phrasing, hey, you can hang with anybody. You can beat anybody in the field. And then the other one would be, like, you look at Indiana, and you can see the example with Penn State. Again, I think they have the highest ceiling maybe of anybody in the field. But, I mean, I even go back to their game against Iowa, but yeah, it's Kirk Ferentz, perfect Iowa. Anybody that has beat them has done it, which 4 teams have in that Ferentz way, but still I think they underperformed compared to expectations. There's not a perfect team in college football this year. There's not that, oh my gosh, this roster is just unbelievable.
Right.
How many first rounders are they going to have? Are they going to have 7, 8 guys taken in the first 2 rounds? There's just not that team this year. And as good as your defense is, you, again, not hang with, you can beat anybody that you might go up against in the playoff.
All right, you ready to take a look around the Big 12 individually and tell you the players of the year?
Of the week. I am. I can go offensive first, if you would like.
Yeah.
Let's go to Relique Brown, Arizona State. Massive day in their win over Colorado. And sometimes when it's like, and now Colorado has worked their way in this conversation, it's like, well, I don't really want to give to someone who played Oklahoma State. But that was an important win for them. And also, like, kudos to Arizona State for staying in the fight. Again, I think that they're going to lose this week and give those tiebreakers to you and BYU. But anyways, that's going around from giving Relique Brown, because he had 22 carries. He had 255 yards on the ground, 1 rushing touchdown. Also had a catch that went for 33 yards for a touchdown, 288 yards from scrimmage, and 2 touchdowns. It's not a bad day at the office. Which, by the way, you look and now he's kind of somewhat out of nowhere, because he was popping off a bunch of 60 rushing yard days. Second for rushing yards in the Big 12 behind L.J. Martin in front of Cam Dickey. So
L.J. Martin, 32 carries, 222 yards. You mentioned Relique Brown, 22 carries, 255 yards. You'd probably say in a conference of 16 teams, with not everyone playing last week, those were obviously leading rushers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Joe Jackson of Kansas State, in a loss, a tearful loss, 24 carries, 293 yards, 3 touchdowns, in a loss. And honestly, Devin Dampier was the best offensive player in that game. But I will give the nod to Joe Jackson for his efforts, along of 80. Just to say it, Devin Dampier, 259 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and 94 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, 4 total. Bird Ficklin scored the other 3 rushing touchdowns, or Devin Dampier would have had 7 total touchdowns.
Losers don't get awards.
Certainly.
If I was...
You know what? You're right. Devin Dampier is my offensive player of the week.
Don't let me talk you into it.
Yeah.
I think, though, that was, for everything that they've gone through, it would have been way, way better had they won the game, obviously.
Oh, for sure.
That they've gone through with Dylan Edwards. And you kind of have to put this in the conversation. Oh, can you keep him around next year? I think that was a very... He's had an encouraging year, not just an encouraging performance. That was a massive performance, but...
And they were just running A-gap power, man.
Yeah.
Just running right at them. All right, defensive.
I'm going to take Jacob Rodriguez. Oh, wait, sorry.
Yeah.
Muscle memory.
On a bye.
Muscle memory.
He had one of the best... he did.
Had one of the best weekends.
One of the best weekends. All right, go ahead.
I'm going to go Caleb Alarms or from TCU. And he had... I think there's a couple of guys. I know one guy with a pick 6 hanging around, maybe 2. Had a couple of guys that had 2 sacks, stuff like that. But man, he had 15 tackles, 10 solo, 2 for loss, all over the field, and also a big thing, leading a defense that held Houston to 14 points. And it's crazy to sit here and go, no doubt in my mind, what unit is better for TCU, offensive or defense? Defense is doing everything they can to keep them in these games.
Yeah.
And now you don't know what would have happened to overtime, but you have to thank Houston's kicker for shanking what would have tied the game at the end.
Woof.
But you did everything defensively, and he was the heartbeat, at least that day, against Houston, so I give him the nod.
I'm going to go to Arizona, Clint. Dalton Johnson had 18 tackles. Not the defensive player of the week.
More of that turkey.
Genesis Smith, 16 tackles, 7 solo, a tackle for loss. Not the defensive player of the week. Tay Brown, 10 tackles, a sack and a half, 2 full tackles for loss. Not my guy. I'm going Jabrari Man, who had 6 tackles but a pick 6 that really broke the game wide open. And it wasn't really much of a thing after that. Kind of broke Baylor's spirit. So I'll go with Jabrari Man.
I don't know. Aranda was smiling after the game.
He was.
Isn't it interesting that Arizona, at least this is when the switch has flipped, because I've been trying to think of like Arizona, how I feel about them, and it finally hit me that they are last year's Baylor. Like, they've got a shot at being, even having a better record at going 9-3, but you like wake up and you go, how many wins does Arizona have? Because some of those losses came early, and I don't think Arizona is a great team, but I think they're a good team, and I think that when you're looking at that, we should be giving retroactively BYU more credit for pulling out that win in Arizona.
Yes.
And I say we to the College Football Playoff Committee. We don't have any say on anything. But at the time, it was like, had to pull one out against Arizona, huh? Yeah, you're not great.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, Arizona, I would say a quiet, again, not a great team, but a quietly great year.
Yeah. Speaking of great years, all Big 12 coming around. We'll give you our all Big 12 teams either in a special video or on next week's video.
Yeah.
But sure. Which Red Raiders will be named to the all Big 12 team?
So when I saw this on the show notes that I wrote down, I put these in categories.
Okay.
And I want to see what you feel.
Perfect.
I went easy picks. I went moderately easy picks. I went should make a case for, and then could make a case for.
Okay.
And these are all for first team, not just first and second team, just for first team here.
Okay.
Easy picks. Jacob Rodriguez.
Check.
David Bailey.
Check.
Cam Dickey.
Check.
Moderately easy picks. Bryce Pollock.
Check.
Stone Harrington.
I'd have to look around, but yeah, check.
I think when you look at the percentages and then the long, you'll be like, okay.
Yeah.
Still enough to just put it moderately easy.
Sure.
Should make a case for Cole Wisniewski, Lee Hunter.
I'd move Lee Hunter up
to moderately easy. I was still trying to be. I feel like when I was writing this down, I'm going way too over the top.
No, I think you could easily have 3 defensive players first team easily.
Okay.
And maybe 4.
So it's funny, I have a side thought with that.
Yeah.
Could make a case for. So just Cole Wisniewski on should make a case for.
A.J. Holmes is there too. He probably hadn't played enough in Big 12 play.
Could make a case for A.J. Holmes, Romello Height, Sheridan Wilson.
The offensive line is interesting. I think Sheridan Wilson, Davian Carter, and Hunter Sampson are all playing at an all Big 12 level. I think Jacob Ponton is going to be on the all-freshman team.
I wrote Davian Carter down, and then I don't know why. I was just like, it's just I'm going through what you're going through right now because I think the offensive line is going to be really tough.
I think Lomu and Fano
they've got to
are
me
going to be your tackles.
And that's why I didn't go like Howard Sampson on the first team.
Yeah.
Because the so tackles are taken care of. Tight end, I don't think I feel any differently about Terrence Carter. You're just probably not, with him missing some games, you're not going to get past that Koziel or Joe Royer wall for first team.
In offensive line, it's not like they do tackle guard, center guard tackle. It's just 5 offensive linemen. Mm-hmm. So you could have Hunter Sampson on there too.
Howard.
What'd I say?
You keep saying Hunter.
Howard. Who is Hunter Sampson? Howard Sampson. I said Hunter?
I hate those.
Twice?
Yeah. I thought you did the first time.
Howard.
Yeah. I hate those mind.
But I would assume Caleb Dickey. Now, Raleek Brown and...
Doing it on purpose.
What I said that time? Cameron.
Are you messing with me?
No. Cameron Dickey.
Let me get your temperature.
I just... With Raleek Brown kind of moving up the... You start looking at teams that might not have a bunch of guys. Mm-hmm. I think Jordan Tyson, even with all the time he's missed, is a first-team All-Big 12 guy. Just out of respect. I just think he'll be voted that way.
Yeah, well, I can certainly see it going that way.
But if you start looking around and saying, well, Arizona finished 9-3, and they fought through not having a quarterback because Raleek Brown was so good down the stretch, could it be L.J. Martin and Raleek Brown in the first two running back spots, and Cam Dickey get knocked down to the second team? And Jacoby Williams, I think, has a conversation as well as the leading all-purpose guy to be the utility on the first team.
Sure. I guess you could make a case, or should make a case for him.
For Jacoby Williams.
I'm going to say hard no on Raleek Brown because of the touchdowns. The yards are the same, and then when you look at consistency, Raleek Brown...
I would vote Cam Dickey.
No, I'm saying
Yeah.
I think it will be this way. Okay. I think it will be a hard no because, I mean, right now you're sitting at... you're not going to leave...
So he'll be second team.
You're not going to leave off the running back who is only leading the entire group with rushing touchdowns, legitimately running away with it. Like
16?
a gap of...
15, 16 total?
Like after the weekend?
No, right now.
He's at 13 right now. Oh, wait.
He had two more.
Wait. He got two more. I was thinking of conference-only stats when I was looking at that earlier. Yeah, it should be...
He's at 15. I think he has 16
my computer
total.
would work.
Regardless, he is leading the conference in touchdowns.
I was right.
13 total?
We apologize. 13 rushing touchdowns.
Okay.
Yeah, 13 rushing touchdowns.
In conference play.
Overall.
Oh. I thought he had more.
Well, he's got more, obviously, total.
14 total.
Yeah.
I just thought he was already at 15.
Yeah, that was right. I know. Kids, go with your gut. Don't have your confidence shaken. Either way, he's still hammering the rest of the Big 12 running backs in touchdowns, and the yards are going to be comparable for second and third. I mean, like within 100 yards comparable. So it would be a little bit of a joke if he wasn't a first-team back.
Okay.
He's the only one in double digits.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. So yeah, I think easy pick for him. It should be, in my mind, an easy pick for Bryce Pollock, but...
It will be.
Just trying to get some...
No, I think, in normal years when we're like, I think there should be 4 Texas Tech players on the Big 12 first team. Mm-hmm. And you're like, well, but you finished 8-4. You're a game or 2 outside of the Big 12 championship. You might get 3. There could be 6, and it would be warranted on the first team this year. Mm-hmm. And I think running back, as you're saying, should be a lock. I think at least one offensive lineman should be a lock. I think utility player Jacoby Williams should be a lock. I think Terrence Carter has a conversation. And, I think I would put Lee Hunter as a lock up in that first tier.
Okay.
I think David Bailey and Lee Hunter are first-team All-Big 12 players.
I think he should be. The only, for him, and this is also why I have Romello Height a little bit lower, and A.J. Holmes for this conversation too, is I think you have more known guys across the front, and they're not all Lee Hunter's position, but when you have like Dominique Orange, and you have like Carlos Allen, and if you're going to the edges, you have like a John Henry Daly and Malachi Lawrence.
Yeah.
and like Prince Dorba, guys like that I think could skew things if the voters go in like, well, which they shouldn't do this.
David Bailey and
Well, we can't have all of these. Why don't we just have the entire starting unit out there?
I think Malachi Lawrence has an opportunity to be a first-team Big 12 guy as like the UCF pity pick.
Or if you're doing that, I think if you wanted an Oklahoma State pity pick, you could go like Wendell Gregory.
Sure.
He's had a bunch of TFLs.
And there's a lot of good defensive linemen. Lee Hunter's one of the best.
He should be a lock. Let me ask you just a random offshoot question. Is there something that would surprise you with the first team stuff that could actually happen?
In a good way or a bad way?
Either way.
I don't know that it would surprise me to get shut out on the offensive line, but that would be one of them where I'm like, you really should have at least one guy there. Because of how you've run the ball and otherwise. I think like John Curry or Ben Roberts or Romello Height or Cole Wisniewski. I think all those guys as first teamers would surprise me in a good way. Like, that's some really good respect for the Big 12 right there from those fellow coaches. So that would surprise me in a good way, that I don't think it'll happen.
I think surprise me in a bad way that could happen is they go so in on the Jacob Rodriguez and David Bailey kind of aspect of, people breaking in. The David Bailey and Jacob Rodriguez aspect of, they are far and away like the two best players on that defense.
Yeah.
That somebody like a Bryce Pollock or a Lee Hunter doesn't make it on that list because they're like, like you're saying, there's other good players here. Let's give this guy the award.
If you're talking AP...
Surprise!
If you're talking AP, all Big 12, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But these coaches are watching film.
Yeah.
They know what's going on.
That's why I said surprise, but surprise in a good way, and I think this is more likely than that one.
I think Terrence Carter would be my pick there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What were you going to say?
Well, surprise in a good way that could actually happen, and maybe there's even some likeliness to this, is having 4 of the front 7 first teamers.
Yeah.
And this is something you're getting into, because anybody that might scoff at that and say that's a ridiculous thought, well, newsflash, you're having a ridiculous defensive year.
Yeah.
And like ridiculous in this is the type of season from a defense we haven't seen in the Big 12 since 2009. Since that Nebraska unit. This is easily, if you're just looking at numbers, Rob, this is going to be a top 10 statistic points per game season. You're going to be pushing top 5. Like, do you want these numbers?
I have some too, but go ahead.
Okay, so if you're just looking at points per game, the best defenses in the Big 12 all time. 2009 Nebraska, which, by the way, didn't win the Big 12 that year. 10.4 points per game. That's the lowest one. And then there's also going to be, heads up, a lot of Nebraskas and a lot of Kansas States on here. Shouldn't surprise you too much. And if you go to 1999, 11.5 points from that Nebraska squad. Tied for third is where you get 96 Nebraska and 2002 Kansas State, 11.8. And those are your 11s. And it's
much different offenses.
Much different offenses, different era. I would totally put this in this is just on paper that you are putting something together more impressive with today's offense. And then you start getting to the 12s. And this is where can you break into this? Can you get into this top 5? 1999 Kansas State right at 12 points per game. 98 Kansas State, 12.3. You get 01 Texas at 12.6. 01 Oklahoma, 12.8. 97. These are the two that you're going to for sure beat. 97 Kansas State, 13.3 points per game, and the one that's going to get bumped out, 96 Kansas State, 14.3, which 1996 Kansas State beat you.
In the first Big 12 game ever.
Mm-hmm. So it'll be good to bump them off something.
Yeah.
But those are the teams and the defenses you're looking at. Those are the who's who of Big 12 defenses, and you're doing it in a much different era. So, yeah, you should be getting ridiculous nods.
And just in conference play this year, everyone else has given up at least 1,000 yards rushing. You've given up 666.
Mm-hmm.
Passing, Arizona and Utah have given up less yards. Arizona has a really good pass defense, but some teams have been able to run on them. And then per game, you're giving up 279 yards. Up next is 342 per game. You've given up 11 Big 12 touchdowns. The next closest is 20, BYU. You're averaging 4.2 yards per play. The next best, Arizona, at 4.9. I mean, it's just go up and down all the lists. It's really, really, really good.
It's really, really good, and it's in a way that really you might be, Rob, in the early stages of what the Big 12 looks like now, just from a team standpoint. Here in the early stage, you're setting a defensive standard that's going to be difficult for you to reach, even with improved recruiting and also now being on the map for guys like, oh, well, I can go there, I can be on a great defense, I can go to the NFL. Like that sort of mindset. It's going to be ridiculously hard to do this year in and year out to this level. Now, that's the goal. And I say shoot for it, but if like next year, you could be giving up 15 points a game, and that's a stellar season defensively, and you're going, yeah, it's not as good.
This is the best defense that Texas Tech has ever had. And it might be the best defense Texas Tech will ever have. Mm-hmm. You're in the good old days here with this defense.
Yeah. I mean, when are you going to have another, just start with, when are you going to have another true Heisman hopeful, a guy that I really do believe, it's not just for the bit or not just because we're in the area, needs to be in New York. When are you going to have a Heisman candidate on defense?
And another All-American pass rusher.
Yeah. And by the way, the All-American's going to get drafted before the Heisman candidate.
Yeah. All right, you ready to get into West Virginia?
Yeah, let's do it.
I think West Virginia is a tough football team. Okay, physically. I think they're physically tough. But if you play a mediocre game and they play their best game, I think you win by 14. If you play your best and they play your best, you win by 28. If they play mediocre and you play mediocre, you win by 21. Like, this is just not an opportunity that West Virginia has to pull an upset. Now, if you play really bad and they play really good, they can beat you. But I don't see that scenario happening. How you came out against UCF, how you responded to some adversity against Kansas State, how you took care of Oklahoma State. This is not like, all right, well, we've taken care of all the Titans on the schedule. Now let's go try to see if we can happen to respond against a bad team. No, you've played good teams and then responded to bad teams in consecutive weeks before. You have to do it again. This time it's on the road. This will be the first, I think, bad team you play on the road. So maybe there's some difference there. But West Virginia as a team, they just announced they're losing another running back.
Dior Hubbard done for the season.
And so, what's that? Their third or fourth running back they're on? Fifth or sixth?
Yeah, their running game is now down to Sincere Bowers. And then also they have a linebacker running back combo, like not switch position, combo, who's going to get more looks now because he's in the second string running back, Curtis Jones Jr.
And then I think, Scotty Fox I like the cut of his jib. Mm-hmm. But he limps around He's obviously not 100%. And
Do you think he's doing the Haynes King to get himself in a more competitive mindset when he does that?
maybe. All respect to West Virginia, this game should not be close.
I think I'm, it's not supposed to be a backhanded compliment, but it's going to sound like it because of the record. Just getting ready for a spit take there.
Sure.
I think the best thing about this year one of this tenure with Rich Rodriguez is that when you're talking about they play physically, they're not going to be backing down or anything like that. It's a talent issue. In year one with this tenure, they have already attached themselves to the Rich Rod identity. They want to run the ball. They want to hammer you defensively. They want to hit you hard. They want you to leave Morgantown with bumps and bruises and a bunch of ice and all that stuff. And so that is something that I think is promising for them in the future. Just like I think Scotty Fox really, essentially finding him through other quarterbacks' failures, although, I mean, he's a true freshman, so it's not like they didn't, it's not like they brought him in thinking like, well, he'll never play. But to find him this early and for him to clearly be the best cog in that offense, that's what this is, and especially with the running back injuries. Like the schematic way is if you stop Scotty Fox, you're going to stop West Virginia's offense. And I think the way you've handled quarterbacks, and I'm with you, he's really fun to watch. I like his moxie, and he is tough, and he is going to try to run through defenders. That's part of why you see him banged up, because he's not protecting his body whatsoever. But for them to move the ball, sometimes he has to do that. I also think he has, I'm not saying he's got like a cannon, because he's not throwing a ton of deep shots, but there's been some passes like against Arizona State and against Houston in the win where he's had some like tight windows over the middle.
Yeah.
Going, some other quarterbacks might be throwing interceptions right there. So there's something there. It's just not there this year. And part of that to me is their defense. And they're horrible in pass defense.
Yeah.
I mean, watery, really non-existent. There's a reason why they've got a nickelback and a safety who leads them in tackles.
Watery.
Yeah. That's what I call it.
Yeah.
Not a good consistency there.
No. Viscous.
Ugh, yeah.
Non-viscous.
And the run game.
Loose.
Yes. Keep going.
Go ahead.
More turkey fever. The run game, or the run defense, isn't like drastically better. Hi, I don't know how I'm going into that. Here's a question.
If the moon was made of spare ribs, would you eat it? Heck, I'd go back for seconds.
If you had a linebacker as a running back, would you hand it to him?
That reminds me of
scored 3 touchdowns this season.
2014 Texas Tech. They stunk.
Yeah.
But Kenny Williams was playing linebacker and running back.
Mm-hmm. The other note too, just with Fox, in Big 12 play, they've given up 19 sacks. It's not the most in the Big 12, but it is a ton. So I just think the mixture of things, like when you said the only way that they beat you is you play a bad game and they play their best, I'm thinking like, yes, bad as in your worst game you've played all year, worse than what you saw in Tempe. And just a turnover day. You would have to have boneheaded offensive play after play after play and mistakes and a bunch of penalties. I just think that's more of, I think your defense is that good that you could win a game if your offense was being that bad, you could win a game 14-11.
Yeah, if West Virginia wins, it's like 13-6.
Yeah.
And maybe their defense scored once. Yeah. All right, so what do you want to see from Texas Tech's offense?
I think you are, in a lot of ways, repeating the goal and the mindset in the win against UCF. Because the number one goal should be you blow them out early and get Baron Morton out of the game. I also want, obviously, to see you continue to, I don't know how much this will help you with the College Football Playoff Committee, because I think you need to do it against like a BYU in the Big 12 championship game. But also, I just think with natural moving parts of the rankings, I don't know if they would penalize you if you didn't. But the red zone is clearly something I want to see you. And that's more of I just want to see you continue to see you progress at this stage of the season.
Yeah.
And I want you to, when you're in the red zone, attack the numbers when you need to. But then when you're 2 yards out, I want you to break their teeth. That's what I would be fine with a 38-7 final where you threw for 150 or less and you ran for 225 or higher if it meant you controlled the game the whole time and you protected Baron Morton. That's what I want.
I only see one thing. I only want to see one thing. Run the damn ball. I don't care if Baron Morton has a single completion. Now, I think you want to have Reggie Virgil and Caleb Douglas and Coy Aiken involved. I think you want to get the ball to Terrence Carter. I don't really care. I think if you're not in a position in the CFP today, when that comes out, you're listening to this on Wednesday or Thursday probably. We're recording on Tuesday, so previous to the updated rankings, but 5th today. I don't think there's anything you can do against West Virginia to move you up.
Sure.
I also don't think there's anything you can do in a win to move you so far down that you're not hosting. So you're in a good position right now. Just win. And I don't know that there's any kind of thing that you need to do special. Just, again, break out the box stuffing mix. Mm-hmm. Get the Velveeta and shells. Cook the turkey. It's all about fellowship anyways. We're not trying to cut lemon peels and zest some oranges for a cranberry sauce. Plop it out of the can, cut it in slices, and do a bag of gravy mix. It's going to taste good because you're with family and friends, and you're going to be playing in the Big 12 championship.
See, I did a thin layer of mushrooms over the green bean casserole.
Yeah, we added
with rosemary
bacon.
and thyme.
Yeah. The only time I need is off the clock in the fourth quarter when you're running the ball.
You know what the best part of a Thanksgiving recipe is, or any hearty recipe?
What?
It's the love that you put in it. It's the best ingredient out there.
Yeah.
And I hope they love to run the ball.
That's all I need. I do not want to trick it up at all.
No, and I don't think you need to.
No.
You don't need to.
At all, no.
Like, this is again, people are going to get tired of hearing this, but this is the last time you'll hear it.
Yeah.
Because you're about to be in postseason play. This game's about you.
Yeah.
What are you doing? So, college football playoff.
Uh-huh.
Again, like you just said, we are filming this before we see the next rankings, anything like that. Will Tech wind up with a bye? That's the question that keeps getting asked. It's the unofficial question of the week.
I don't think so. Now, if Texas beats Texas A&M, I think Georgia and A&M would still play in the SEC championship game.
I have this scenario if you want them.
I want the SEC scenario first.
All right, here is your...
Well, let's start with the Big Ten. I don't think either of those teams losing to each other in the Big Ten championship knock them past 4.
I think, and I'm not going to bring up Indiana because if there's no way they're losing to Purdue.
Right.
If Ohio State loses to Michigan, which crazier things have happened, and then they lose to Indiana, they're not going to. That's the Big Ten scenario. But I just don't. I'm not expecting that. I think that both of those teams are going to be undefeated, and then the other thing is like, okay, well, does one of them just obliterate the other one? And I just don't think. Even if that happens, I wouldn't be overly confident that they would fall all the way out of a bye.
So give me the SEC.
All right, here's your clinching scenarios for the SEC for the teams that could make it. By the way, it is 4, just like your 4 going into the weekend. Texas A&M, Alabama, Ole Miss, and Georgia. Texas A&M reaches the SEC title game if the Aggies beat Texas, clearly, or Auburn beats Alabama and Mississippi State beats Ole Miss. So you have to have a couple of big upsets there in rivalry games. Alabama reaches the SEC title game if they beat Auburn. That's the easiest one. Ole Miss reaches the SEC title game if the Rebels beat Mississippi State and A&M loses to Texas and Alabama loses to Auburn. Georgia reaches the SEC title game if Auburn beats Alabama or Texas beats Texas A&M.
So it's going to be Alabama and A&M most likely.
Well, if Texas beats A&M, then I think it's Georgia, Alabama.
Okay. That is a lot of things that could happen this weekend.
Yes.
And there's still Oregon who could jump you. There's still Ole Miss in those scenarios that could jump you. Alabama could jump you. Certainly some teams could fall past you. I think you'll be the 5 seed in the playoff. I don't think you'll get a bye.
I've been consistent with this. I think you're going to get a bye because I think there's too much that's going to happen in front of you. But also I think it starts with you winning out. I think you're about to beat the you-know-what out of West Virginia. And I think you'll beat BYU in the Big 12 championship game again. It's going to be hard to repeat a 29-7. Your offense could have a better day.
Yeah.
But it's hard to imagine that you're going to have another...
It should have been 42-0 at halftime.
It could be worse for them. I'm thinking around the same, at least, winning margin. And I'm of the ilk if Georgia gets left out of the SEC championship game and you win and you look good in the Big 12 championship game and you have another game's worth of data on you, I think you'll jump them. Because you've already jumped, stop me if you've heard this before, jumping a one-loss SEC team that was inactive the week before.
Yeah, we're big Georgia Tech fans.
That would help.
We're big...
This week, yeah.
Okay.
You're not rooting for Texas to win, you're rooting for A&M to lose.
Sure. Okay.
Because I think it's important to get the bye game. Because when you put in the health of your quarterback, anything you can do to help that, I'm in. And I know that would take away the home playoff game. And as I've said every week, I'm not going to complain if that happens.
If Arizona beats Arizona State, are you starting Mitch Griffiths?
No. No, I wouldn't want to put anything in jeopardy with Morgantown. Even though it doesn't mean you get into the Big 12 championship game,
you don't think Mitch Griffiths can beat?
I think he can beat them, but I still think style points are important.
Okay.
And I think you can get style points with Baron Morton leading the offense and still protecting him. I'm just do everything you can to go kill West Virginia.
Okay.
Are you?
I think you can beat West Virginia by the same margin with Mitch Griffiths or Baron Morton. I'd probably start Baron Morton, though.
Yeah. All right, Big 12 Whiparound. We can start with Arizona and Arizona State. Well, actually, I said let's start there. We've got to do our weekly. I want you to rank the interest level of these Big 12 games.
Okay.
In the final week.
Ready?
Ready.
Arizona State, number 1.
Ooh, okay, number 1.
We go the other way?
No. We always go.
Arizona. Well, I think we go back and forth. Arizona State, most impressive. I think my eyeballs will be on TCU Cincinnati next, just based on how they can finish. The next two, 3A, 3B, are UCF, BYU, and Texas Tech, West Virginia. The contingency is that if Arizona State beats Arizona, those two games are next, above TCU Cincinnati. I think Arizona will win, so I'm putting the TCU Cincinnati game up there, just because that, for bowl seeding and everything, that game is actually pretty important. Past that, it would be Houston Baylor, just because the Dave Aranda stuff is so exciting to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would put Utah, Kansas, because Kansas can knock off Utah, really affect their day, weekend, and clinch a bowl game. And then the other two. I don't care what order you put them in. I'd probably go Iowa State, Oklahoma State, and then Kansas State, Colorado last. I do not care about that game at all.
I think this is the most differences we've had on a list outside of number one. Totally agree, and I'm with you. I think Arizona will beat Arizona State. That line is close to what I thought it would be 3 weeks ago, but the records are vastly different.
Yeah.
The Wildcats a 1.5 point favorite there in Tempe. I'm going there number one. This is our very first difference. I'm going Utah, Kansas because of what Utah did last week. And this is on the road, and it's Jalen Daniels Senior Day. It's for a bowl game, and that's more of who's more likely to upset the college football playoff hopeful out of these three games. Kansas over Utah, UCF over BYU, or West Virginia over Texas Tech. I think it's Kansas over Utah.
Of course
Personally.
you do.
Well, who do you think it is?
None of them.
I said more likely.
Yeah.
Like more likely.
Now, I will say John Daly Henry not playing probably against Kansas. That affects the defense quite a bit. John Daly Henry? John David Henry?
John Henry Daly.
Whatever. What's his name?
John Henry Daly, right?
John Daly?
You're going the golfer.
No, I think it's John Daly Henry. John David Henry. John Henry David. Henry David John. His name is my name too.
It's John Henry Daly.
John Daly is his name?
John Henry Daly.
I thought Henry was his last name.
So anyways, the second one on my list is Utah, Kansas.
Uh-huh.
The third on my list would be you at West Virginia. Fourth, BYU, UCF. Fifth, Cincinnati, TCU. Sixth, Houston and Baylor. Let's switch those. Fifth, Houston and Baylor. Sixth, TCU and Cincinnati. Cincinnati has just completely taken them out of my interest.
Scott Satterfield has Scott Satterfielded.
Yeah. At least for them, he did it this time when they had 7 wins. I say at least. I don't think they care. And then I'm with you. I guess if I had to pick one, I'd probably be more interested in Oklahoma State and Iowa State to see if they could get that Big 12 win or if they're going to go 0-18 in the last 2 seasons. And then Kansas State and Colorado. I don't really care.
So beyond the main one, Kansas is your most important and Kansas State's your least important?
Yeah.
Okay.
What? It's the Utah factor.
Hey, by the way, 2 Friday night games, Indiana, Purdue, and A&M in Texas at 6:30. Then you have a standalone Fox broadcast with Arizona State. If that doesn't hit 3 million viewers, I am mad. That has to draw.
Yeah.
If it doesn't on a Black Friday, are we saying that still?
Yeah.
If that doesn't, I don't want to get canceled. We're just starting, man. It's our first season.
It's true.
Arizona State, Arizona, if they can't draw. By the way, that UCF number was not good. 1.4 million against UCF. But Texas Tech is on their way to their best season in years, maybe ever, viewership-wise. You were like 58th in the country per game viewership last year at like less than 800,000, 600,000 something. You're at like 1.5 this year, million per. If you could go over 1 million again, that would be awesome against West Virginia. I don't know if you can. There's a lot of games at 11 a.m. on Saturday, but that Arizona State game needs to draw something.
And when you say mad, what's the level of mad? Like Creighton play-by-play guy against Baylor mad?
I had to listen to that 3 or 4 times to hear the word blocking.
Blocking foul.
Blocking.
I laughed
A blocking foul!
because I
was like, whoa, he's getting fired.
is that a foul? Yeah, that's what I heard too.
Yeah.
I had to a little behind the
I was like,
scenes.
is this a stream?
It's going to be too little too late because we're recording this
Right.
before I'm going to play this later on our show. I had to tell our producer, you don't have to bleep this out. He's not cussing.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Fan question?
Fan question of the week. As always, you can drop a fan question of the week on my Twitter, Rob's Twitter, Double T973's Twitter.
Do you know how to put those up there?
You know, R.I.P. to Josh. He was just putting them at the end.
Yeah.
He now wants to.
Okay. All right.
So whoever's editing that now, probably gonna go back at the end. You can also leave a comment below. We do go back and read those and try to respond to them as well. You can always leave a question on the YouTube link or the video below, and make sure to like and subscribe. We appreciate everybody who's done that. We are breaching 2,000, which is the next small milestone for us. We might eat a deviled egg per subscription on the way out. Who knows?
This week, if you subscribe on Thanksgiving, we're going to mark down the number today.
Yeah.
We'll eat that amount between the two of us, that amount of deviled eggs next week.
Do you like the egg or the filling part more?
Well, it's a combo.
I know, but if you had to pick one,
The egg.
the egg white, right?
I would prefer to eat a dozen egg whites than 12 spoonfuls full of deviled egg filling.
Just mayonnaise and mustard. You got a tub of mayonnaise. You're just dousing it with
paprika.
mustard.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the best part.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, yeah, it was your Thanksgiving. Show your Nana this. Be like, you should check these guys out, Nana. Subscribe to them. What concerns you about BYU if you saw them a second time?
It would concern me that LJ Martin would be healthier and angry about his performance the first time.
Yeah.
I think Chase Roberts,
Do we know the update on him?
no,
Because he didn't finish
right.
Cincinnati.
I think Chase Roberts and Parker Kingston, man, would both need to feel like they wanted to perform better. But I think your offense can do what they did the first time again.
I think something that, because LJ Martin is the first thing I thought of too. What's his health? Is he, and at the start of that game, I mean, Gash is a little bit strong, but
They were running the ball.
they were running the ball. I think if you flip it, like their pressure is at the top of my list. Did they get? I don't know they got you a couple of times because Barron was talked about that week. Felt like he was hanging on to the ball too long, trying to make a play. Because the other side of this, does he learn from that? But could you have an even worse day with their pressure? And are they causing turnovers with that? I also can't imagine that they'd be as messy in special teams. When you look at a muffed punt and you look at a missed field goal, and then I guess something else too is just Bear Bachmeier has had a really good year as a freshman quarterback. You were far and away the best defense he's ever seen. It was on the road. It was in Lubbock. He got crushed and had his worst day as a collegiate quarterback so far. Has he caught up a little bit more? I mean, still, you can have a quarterback catch up to it and still be really hard to find success because of your talent and scheme and stuff like that. But has he caught up some to your power and speed and make 5 or 6 more plays in Arlington than he did in Lubbock?
Right.
That's something that I don't think is crazy to think could happen. But I guess I've been saying whoever it is, if you're there for a month now, when it is BYU, I still like you in that game. And I think really the biggest thing about them is I think BYU is a really good team. Even though you beat them 29-7, I just think that they're They're going to be a tough team to beat because of how they're built and programmed. But I like you in that game. Another side thing too is like, are they going to get you on? Because at this point, they would be playing for essentially knowing like you can't leave it up to the hands of the College Football Playoff Committee to put you in as an at-large. I just can't imagine that that'll be the case. And even if somehow by then, if you're like 10th and you're technically in that inner circle, well, if you lose, you got to be banking on them just throwing you back out, right? Right back in the cold. So there's going to be that kind of back against the wall feel for BYU. And then do they have any like gotcha plays? Are they just emptying the bag because of it? That's something that's on the radar anyways. And not to say just because they do that they're going to work, right? Your defense has been very, very good at sticking with their responsibilities. So I'm trying to come up with things of what would concern me about that game.
I think the thought process there would be that it would concern you that they don't have anything to lose.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they could play a little more free.
It could be that wild man mentality.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And you have 30 years of pressure.
Have you seen the BYU fans who have like reached out and be like, hey Tech, what do you say about this?
Yeah.
Like, we get 2 in, you just let us win the Big 12 championship game?
Yeah.
And I know it's like Twitter, whatever. It's social media.
Right.
No.
I've got a lot of doofus BYU fans in my mentions right now, so.
Which, by the way, though, maybe of the ones who are active, I would say the most tolerable of anybody in the Big 12.
Not currently. In fact, they're falling down my power rankings by the minute.
Oh. Well, forget I said anything. Who's your favorite?
For their sake, Utah.
Have a happy Thanksgiving. Remember what you're thankful for. Eat all the carbs. Next week we'll be hopefully talking about a Big 12 championship game. Is that real?
Yeah, it's really bad, and I can't even get like a.
Is it contagious?
So dumb. Welcome in. The vomit goggles got me. Hold on.